Welcome to the Purple Party, known as Purple Nerd Channel, a home for all those who geek out on all things Prince related. Rosie Gaines is a singer-songwriter most famous for her time spent with Prince as a member of his band, the New Power Generation, and for her famous duet on the song Diamonds and Pearls with Prince from the album of the same name. Prior to meeting Prince, Rosie was in several bands, including her first, Unity, which was made up of Rosie and several members of her family, and the Curtis Olson Band, which featured future MPG member Levi Seacer Jr. on guitar. After getting a solo deal with Epic Records, Rosie had Curtis Olson co-produce her album with Don Cornelius. Yes, that Don Cornelius. The rest of the Curtis Olson Band actually played on the album, including Levi Seacer Jr. Her debut album, Caring, was released October 8, 1985. Unfortunately, the album did not chart, even with 3 singles being released. Schoolology was the only single that charted, charting at number 77 on the R&B charts. She recorded a second album in 1987 for Epic Records called Sweeter Love, but unfortunately it was shelved, and Rosie was dropped from Epic Records. She went back to working with Curtis Olson and actually passed on touring with Michael Jackson as she wanted to continue pursuing her own solo career. Around this same time, Levi Seacer Jr. had joined Sheila E.'s band, which would eventually merge into Prince's new band. Shortly after this, Levi was working on the Pointer Sisters album, Right Rhythm, at Paisley Park Studios and asked Rosie to fly up and go ahead and sing on one of the tracks. While recording her part, Prince happened to be passing by the studio and heard Rosie sing, and he was completely overwhelmed with her voice and asked her to join his band, replacing Bonnie Boyer on vocals and keyboards. Rosie was a member of the New Power Generation band up until the end of the Diamonds and Pearls tour, and even though she had left the group, she still continued to work with Prince with the hopes of a solo project happening in the end. Prince and Rosie wrote and recorded several songs for her project. There's a rumor that there was enough material to fill 3 albums. Unfortunately for her though, Prince had started his battle with Warner Brothers and pretty much everything on Paisley Park got dropped, including her project, which at the time had the working title of Concrete Jungle, and even had a single and a music video released for the song My Tender Heart. Because of this, Rosie left the Prince camp and signed a deal with Motown Records, and started work again on her solo album. Several songs from the Concrete Jungle project came onto this project, with Rosie producing the majority of the songs, but sharing writing credits with Dana Bailey and Francis Jules. Closer Than Close was released on June 13, 1995, peaking at number 99 on the R&B charts. The single I Want You peaked at number 90 on the R&B charts, while the single Are You Ready unfortunately did not chart. Music videos were released for I Want You and Closer Than Close. Interesting enough, the song Closer to Close was remixed by UK garage house DJs Mentor Productions 2 years later in 1997, becoming one of the biggest dance hits in the UK ever. As it peaked at number 1 on the UK dance charts and number 4 on the UK single charts, and since its release in 1997, it has sold over 8 million copies. So let's go ahead and dive into Rosie Gaines' album Closer Than Close, as we open up with I Want You, Inner City Blue, Earth Mama version. This is essentially a remix of the original song I Want You, which was written by Prince and Rosie Gaines and originally performed by Rosie Gaines in the New Power Generation, with St. Paul of all people popping up on the track to play bass. This original version was renamed the Purple version and actually closes out this album, so stay tuned because we'll get to that one. Next is the Smooth as Butter Are You Ready? Are you ready? Yeah, yeah. And I gotta tell you, 2 tracks in, Rosie just has that voice that just makes you feel comfortable. Like, this album should have been packaged with a blanket and a cup of hot cocoa. Next is Closer Than Close, and this is the original album version and not the remixed dance hit.
Closer than close, closer than you ever can imagine.
Next is Goo Gaga.
Gaga, everybody's staring, but who cares?
This song really celebrates, being spontaneous in a relationship and just kind of just going with the flow of things and just kind of seeing where love leads you. Next is Turn Your Lights Down Low.
Turn your lights down low.
The drums slow down just a bit, and I gotta say that on the slower grooves, the sultry sound of Rosie's voice just matches up perfectly. This is actually a cover of the song of the same name by Bob Marley. The song was originally recorded by Rosie with Prince in the MPG in 1990. This version is from 1992 and features a collection of some of the greatest Minneapolis musicians playing on it. Next is My Tender Heart. And this is Rosie's cut of the song, as we got to hear Prince's version on the Super Deluxe release of Diamonds and Pearls. But there's also a third version of this song, which is a duet between Prince and Rosie Gaines, which was originally recorded in 1990. This version is from 1992, with Ricky Peterson producing the song and providing most of the instruments as well. Next is the powerful I Almost Lost You. A haunting ballad with Rosie on the piano just singing her soul out. Next is the bluesy, horn-led Slow Man.
My slow man.
We pick things up next with the song Can You Handle It?
Oh, baby, can you handle it?
Next is Concrete Jungle, which again was the working title of this project when it was originally on Paisley Park Records. This song takes you on a cinematic trip with a mixture of gospel and New Jack Swing, bringing you a really deep message. We continue the themes of Concrete Jungle with the next song, Get the Ghetto Off My Mind.
You're mine.
Next is December 25th.
One day of silence in a war. Oh.
Is it a Christmas song? It kinda is, because it's a metaphor of how we act on Christmas Day versus how we act the rest of the year. We close out with I Want You, the purple version.
When you're gone, I need you.
This is the original version of the song recorded by Prince, Rosie, and the New Power Generation all the way back in 1989, making it one of the very first songs that Rosie recorded with Prince. After the release of this album, Rosie would go on and release another 6 albums independently, and Prince would actually pop up on 3 of them, as Rosie would continue to work with Prince on occasions, and even perform live with him on his shows every just so often. After some unfortunate health scares, Rosie has retired from music. Although recently, according to her daughter Toya, she says that her mom is in great health and is enjoying being a grandmother. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe to the channel. And if you wouldn't mind, please go and check out my Patreon page and consider becoming a member. I will see you on the next episode where I go and review an album of Prince's that we've already had a Super Deluxe edition of, because while I was reviewing Super Deluxe editions, this one just kept jumping out at me, so I figured it was a good time to revisit it. So until the next episode, I wish you heaven.